we're going to try this again. Yeah, we're going to try this again. It's supposed to be streaming. It's supposed to be. Okay. Now we're live. Now we're live. Okay, got it. I don't know what that did. I don't know what happened, but now we're live. Yeah, now we're live. Okay. Now we're live. Okay, got it. I was looking in the wrong thing, so forgive me. For those of you that want to be a part of the YouTube video, you can go into youtube.com/higher talk, and you can be there, and you can also comment in those. So those of you, because this is the last day I'm doing Instagram, I'm gonna start doing Instagram on a weekly basis, but I'm gonna do YouTube every day. That's the every day. Why? A lot of people across the country are not able to get to my YouTube page. Get to my Instagram page. And the reason they're not able to get to my Instagram page is because what happens is when I do Instagram, I do it at Central Standard Time. I do it at the time when most of them are work. My East Coast people are still working. They're still at a situation where that's what my problem is. They're still at a time when they are trying to get stuff done. And once they get that stuff done, then they're not able to actually get into the process. They can't get on with me. So I got to start doing stuff for them so that they can actually do the stuff that they need to do as well. So that's that, my friends. That's that. So if you are on YouTube/higher talk, if you're on YouTube /higher talk, you go to my channel and you will see the thing that says control the flow. Yeah, it says control the flow. So I'll put it down here because that's better. You can see more when you're on there. So it's youtube.com. Okay, spell two. youtube.com. Okay. /higher talk. Yeah. So those of you, and do me a favor, some of you join me on YouTube. I gotta keep this process tested. This is it. So go to YouTube. Yeah. Go to YouTube, Higher Talk. Go to that link and go get that. So now I got that done. I believe I have that done because it looks good. So let's get started. In the process of this, there are two things that are happening. The number one thing is happening is we are now moving into a different level. So let me tell you what's about to happen. What's going on right now? Right now, what's going on is it's about to go down. The memorandum for people being able to stay in their houses without having to pay rent is about to go away. So at the end of this month, I don't think anybody's really paying attention to that. At the end of this month, people are going to have to start finding some place to stay. So within that, opportunities are going to be presented for a lot of you to do, make some money and help some people. But I need you to understand something. The ability to help people is what you really need to be thinking about. How do you help people? How do you get to the point where you are putting people before yourself? Because there's a difference between, and sacrifice is something we hear a lot of. We hear a lot of people talking about sacrifice. We hear a lot of people talking about, oh my God, I sacrifice for this and that and the other. But the thing I want you guys to understand is sacrifice should never be, and hear me now, sacrifice should never be something that does nothing. Okay. Sacrifice should never be something that does absolutely nothing. You should never sacrifice for nothing, meaning there is nothing happening or you're getting nothing and nothing is taking place. There should always be a reason for sacrifice. See, the mentality of wanting nothing in return is a different mentality. Now, how many of you can go over to YouTube for me? Because like I said, it's simply the link right down here at the bottom, that link right there. Go to YouTube for me. So sacrifice should be for a reason. There should be a directive. There should be a destination for your sacrifice. There should not be just the sacrifice. There should be a destination for the sacrifice, and that is not what that's supposed to say. There should be a destination for your sacrifice, and that destination should be something that enhances your life. Now, I understand the mentality of wanting nothing in return. That simply means that when I do something for you, I don't expect you to give me something in return. That is one of the biggest challenges that we have when it comes to the Christian walk. Our Christian walk goes, you shouldn't want anything in return. The nature of sacrifice is the nature of return. The nature of you sacrificing something is the nature of something being returned to you. So when you are operating in a level of sacrifice, you are operating at a point where you're going, okay, I'm operating to make sure there's an open way, or there's a direction, or there's an opening for me to be in that situation. So what's the key? I'm talking to a young man today, and while I'm talking to him about his organization and how large his organization is going to get. Well, I'm on YouTube now, Portia. I'm literally on YouTube here. How large his organization was going to get. And while I'm talking about that organization, he's telling me about, oh yeah, come to YouTube and subscribe. Subscribe and hit the little like button. Hit the little notification so that it'll notify you for YouTube, so you know. So you'll know when I come on. There's a little notification on here, and I'll show you that, guys, when you get over here. So in the process of it, you are operating at this level where you are trying to make yourself better. So in order to make yourself better, you do things that move obstacles out of your way. Some of them should be volunteer. Yes, that's me talking live. That's me talking live, Portia. Some of them should be volunteer. At the top of the page, you should see Higher Talk Chronicles live. And I got to change that flyer because that flyer has something saying that the flyer has something to say that it's every Saturday, but it's not every Saturday at 10 p.m. It's actually every week, every day at 10 p.m. So within that situation, you can actually put yourself in a position where you are operating at a different level. Now, there we go. So, in my life, there are things I had to sacrifice. In my life, there are situations I had to sacrifice. A lot of times, my family, when I wasn't able to spend time around my family and be around my family, they thought I was not being around them because I didn't want to be around them. Unfortunately for me, that was not the case. I did want to be around them. I was not able to be around them. That's number one. Number two, what I had to become to grips with, what I had to really come to grips with is everything I did had to have a season. You are in a season of growth. You're not just growing. You're in a season of growth. And when you're in a season of growth, that means that you are operating at a level where people are there for that season. And if they're not there for that season, what happens is you find yourself trying to figure out why that person is around, or making the adjustments so that person can stay around. Some of you are in relationships and you're with a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and you are actually with that person because of emotional obligations or some type of mental obligation, when in actuality, you need to be with that person because they enhance your life. And that's hard because that sounds selfish. That's hard because that sounds selfish. Now, what does that mean? Example. What that means is we try to push people to the top of the mountain that really don't want to get to the top of the mountain. And what happens in the process of pushing them to the top of the mountain, you then put yourself in a position where you're not at the top of the mountain. You're waiting for them to get up there with the hopes that they'll bring you up there. The key to that is understanding that you have to get to the top of the mountain and invite them to the top of the mountain. Does that make sense? Get to the top of the mountain. The first time I was on a plane and they told me, said, now what you have to realize, guys, is when something happens, you have to put the face mask on yourself before you put the face mask on your daughter or your son. And I'm like, that's kind of crazy. We want them to live, but they can't live unless you first live. That is the mentality that I had to learn. I had to learn that people around me can't live until I live. And so when I learned that it was not a sacrifice for me to not help you immediately at the sacrifice of helping myself. You follow me? Because the key to most of our lives is us. You are the driver, you are the motivator, you are the movement, you are all these things. So the key to that is you being in position where you're strong enough to help. If I suck the life out of you, or if the life is taken out of you, what in turn happens to you is you can't help anymore because the life is out of you now. Okay? You can't help anymore because there's no more life. So here's the interesting thing. So let's go back to, I have a diagram that I've been using, and I've been using this diagram for years. And I have this diagram, and I want you to see this diagram. Okay, so within this diagram, I want you to see this. Within this diagram, there are three things you have to realize. And one of those things you have to realize is the fact that what you're dealing with is spirit. You're dealing with spirit. Now, you guys on YouTube can't see it. It's a diagram. You're dealing with spirit, okay? Once you deal with spirit is supposed to pour into your mind. Now, let's deal with the mind. So, most of the people that you're holding on to are held on because of the mind. This one right here. They're held on. You hold on to them because of their mind, because of how you feel like they should be in the mentality of it, and all these different things. So they are there because of the mind. Let's make that a little darker so you see that. They're there because of the mind. So when you look at the mind of this situation, you look at how the mind works, you realize that the mind is an attachment. It attaches to something. So when people are around you, they are attaching to either your mental or your physical, your mind or your body. Got it? So if people are attaching to your mind or your body, what they're doing is they're creating an obligation to them. Got it? They're creating an obligation. And when they create the obligation, what in turn happens to you is you now are operating in the obligation. Now, if you notice something, the mind is in the middle. So if your obligation becomes to the mind and through obedience of the body, what you'll find is you are now not listening to the spirit. Okay? So the mind and the spirit should always be in communication. But if I want to interrupt your flow, I just get something to attach to your mind. I get fear to attach to your mind. Dislike. I get anything to attach to your mind. That way I can control you. Most of you are now being controlled. And the reason you're being controlled is because you have not allowed your mind to be free enough to receive what's available to you. You got it? Okay. So how do we interpret that into our lives? Into your life. What's your destination? Where do you want to go? Where do you want to end up? This weekend we have my grandkids with me. My grandkids, you guys seen them this week. I have my grandkids to me. So the life that we are now living has been based on what makes the grandkids happy. We took Kai upstairs, and when we took him upstairs, we were talking to him about how to swim. Now, he was so afraid of the water that he was screaming and yelling and believing that the screaming and yelling was going to move us. Didn't move us at all. So he was in the middle of the water swimming. I need you to hear me, guys. He was in the middle of the water swimming. While he was in the middle of the water swimming, he was floating. He was screaming, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. When in actuality, he was doing it. So if he was doing it, and he's screaming that he couldn't do it, the fear had overshadowed him so much to the point that he could not see the reality, which was a spiritual reality of the situation. How many of you are in that same position? You are so caught up in your anger, your dislike, whatever the situation may be, that you don't see the reality of where you actually are. Now, again, those of you that are over on Instagram, I need you to go to YouTube at that link down at the bottom, youtube.com/higher talk, and join us over here. You can also see the diagrams that I've done over here. So, how many of you are stuck in that situation? We're stuck there because we are in a position where we believe that reality is what we feel. We believe this is reality. This whole thing is reality. What we see, what we feel, what we think, what we drink. We believe that's reality. When in actuality, that is not reality. That is a product of reality. But it's not reality. So if it's not reality, what's reality? It's not reality, what's reality? Reality is anything that's based in the spirit. The reason that religious organizations grew so fast and did so well is not because they were better than anybody else. They did that because they grew based on spiritual foundations. But when the spiritual foundation was shaken, all of a sudden, check it out, all of a sudden, everything shifted. All of a sudden, everything shifted. So when they stopped dealing and doing what spirituality said, you start seeing things, because you start seeing things happening. You start seeing adultery, and it was like revealed. It was like somebody opened the door and began to show us all this stuff. So why is that? That is because the spirit protects, the spirit protects the body. Why? Because if you are doing something now that is not according to the spirit and you're submitted to the spirit, that thing will eventually work out for you and you'll be able to operate at another level. But if you're not, that means you now have to figure out what's right and what's wrong and then make that adjustment so that you can feel like you're better. Most people, your challenge is you want to feel good. You want to feel like you're better. You want to feel like you made the right decision. You want to feel like you did it. It was all you. You made it happen. It's a self-serving mentality. You want to feel like I did this. Well, I did this. When something happens, Drea, when something happens, put that down in the question box for me, Drea. Put that down in the question box. When something happens, you are stuck in fear. Now, here is something I need you to pay attention to. Like I said, all my YouTube people hear me. Here's something I need you to pay attention to. The reason that you get stuck is because you don't feel like you're powerful enough to move beyond or move to the next level. And this is what I was looking at what Drea said over on Instagram. You don't think you're powerful enough to move to the next level. So what you do is you stay there. So all I have to do as a person that is walking in that power is let you feel that I'm the one that supplies you with power. All I have to do is make you feel like your power is hinged on the fact that I give you opportunity to have power. All I have to do is that. All I have to do is let you know. So, because if I do that to you, what I do is I take this part of you out. I take the mental part of you out of the equation. If I block the mental part, the spiritual part cannot release and pour into the mental part, and the physical part cannot be obedient, can't operate. Why? It has no place to operate, has no source to operate. So now all I do is get your mind. I used to watch brothers in the day go, I got your mind, get your mind. They just said if they got your mind. And ladies know that you've got friends and people around you going, why is he doing that? Or why is she doing that? Their mind is gone. And so the thing that gives them hope, the things that gives them salvation, the things that speaks potential to them is your spirit. It's not your mind. Your mind calculates it, but your spirit gives you hope. Your spirit pours into you next level stuff. Okay, Drea, can you get? Oh, really? Can you guys get over to YouTube? I'm just gonna teach this lesson. So, first of all, a 9 to 5 is not a 9 to 5. What a 9 to 5 actually is training. So, the fear to leave your 9 to 5 is not based on leaving 9 to 5. It's based on the things you feel like you lose. My wife is concerned about having insurance. And so within having insurance, she asked me, well, I want dental, I want visual, I want all that kind of stuff. Now, in her case, she uses that stuff. I said, when was the last time I actually went to the doctor? When was the last time that we actually needed to go to the doctor? And she said, well, we had to go to the doctor for this, we had to go to the doctor for this. I said, no, every time I've ever gone to the doctor is because you wanted me to go check something out. And once they checked it out, there was nothing wrong. Once they checked it out, there was nothing wrong. So she said, if I don't work, what do I do about my insurance? Excuse me. What do I do about my insurance? I said, pay for insurance. So that being said, follow me here. That being said, I don't advocate go pack your grip, get out your job, go do something else. What I do advocate though is taking that job as a form of training. Learn how they do business, talk to general managers, learn about the human resource process, learn about the sales process, learn about all these different processes. Thus, when you're ready to move, you're now making a sacrifice, but it is a controlled sacrifice. That's number one. Number two, what you have to also realize is that what you're doing right now is simply maintaining you until it's time to move. Or is it time to move? Is it actually time to move? If it's time to move, then we move. But if it's not time to move, what you have to do is take this job as an opportunity to move. Take this job as an opportunity to move. Now, what do I mean by that? Start building stuff. Start looking for your business plan. Start figuring out your banks. Get with a mentor to tell you a good plan. Figure all these things out before you move. That's business 101, because you never know what opportunities are presented there. You may start your own thing and Kaiser may be one of your clients. So you take this time to figure out what your move is going to be. This is the strongest time for meditation, strongest time for prayer, strongest time for movement. I teach one class about writing, and I think for the spiritual retreat, I have a friend of mine, she writes scripts. She's a script writer, she's a journalist, and also she's a writer helps you edit and write books. She's coming to the spiritual retreat and teach you the power of the journal. The power of the journal. I'm writing down stuff down. I don't have my other journal. I'm writing stuff down on my journal right now. The power of the journal. Writing stuff down is very important. So if you are working at a job and you're working at a place of employ and you are not taking notes of everybody you meet, taking notes of situations that come up, taking notes, you are wasting your time there. And the reason you're wasting your time there is because you don't know that this is paid training. Everything you learn, they can't take away. Everything I needed to learn about sales was when God allowed me to be at MCI. He allowed me to be at MCI. When I was at MCI, I learned everything about sales. I learned everything about money. I learned everything about multi-million-dollar companies. I learned that stuff when I worked for the MCI, long distance company, MCI. When I finally left, I was a couple of steps ahead of the people that were around me that didn't work at MCI or didn't work at one of the major companies, because I learned to meet people, listen to what they say, and operate according to that in their lives. You follow me? You've got to do that. You've got to move in a way that allows you to see how you get this thing done. How do they do what they want to do? How do they do what they do? And when you understand that, then from that vantage point, you're able to grow into your own business, Drea. What type of business would you like to be in, Drea? So let me continue. So I'm watching these things happen. I'm watching the situations grow. and I'm watching my grandson sit in the middle of the water and swim and simply scream at the point that he is trying to tell us he can't swim when he's actually doing it. Making a move out of your business, operating in a new relationship, operating at a new spiritual level. All these things will give you the feeling that you can't do them. Why? Because you're emotionally attached to these things. Your mind is emotionally attached to those things. And because there's that emotional attachment, it's hard to let go because it's almost like letting your mind go. That's where sacrifice comes. That is where sacrifice comes. And when you understand that's where sacrifice comes, you don't sit and get caught up in the fact that you have to sacrifice, because you remember, sacrifice produces an opportunity for you to be better than you've ever been before. All right? Okay. I'm going to say this, that I am actually going to go. I was going to actually do 30 minutes because Monday was going to be full-fledged YouTube. So if you are not a part of the YouTube family, you need to go and get on YouTube right now. That's the link right there. Get on YouTube right now. Like, follow, and put in your, what's the word I'm looking for? Reminder. Put in your reminder so you can be reminded of when we're on and we go deep. I'm going to do interviews. What I'm doing on Instagram will probably be something once a week, and I'll be interviewing somebody on Instagram. And from that point on, we're able to begin to supply everything that you guys have need of. All right? Everything that you guys have need of. Everything. Go to YouTube, down there at the bottom, .com/higher talk. Right? All right, my people. I appreciate you for stopping by. I appreciate you for doing your thing. But I need to go. Is it 12? Is it 10:30 yet? It's 10:37. I need to go. Monday we will be on YouTube. So be ready. Be set. Have your paper and pencil ready, because we're just going to jump and dive in. Now, for those of you that have a specific question, like Drea, write the question down and email it or DM me the question, and I'll answer it online, or I'll answer you back in DM. Matter of fact, I'll do both of them. But this one will give you the opportunity to kind of talk to other people and be around and in the midst of other people. All right? Again, my name is William Dallas. Like and share. At the bottom of this page, there is a thumbs up. That's the like. And you can share it as well. Okay? All right, guys. I appreciate you. Thank you very much for your time. I will see you on Monday with a full-fledged need you, whatever you need, teaching. All right? All right, is that a good thing? All right. I love you guys. God bless you. I'm William Dallas, Higher Standards Chronicles. See you tomorrow. Peace. Monday. See you Monday.